Good afternoon north of 44 degrees. I've already been at it for a couple hours this morning. Got the rest of the insulation put up in the walls, and now I'm going to start working on the thermal break between the heated floor and the exterior wall. Let's head inside and I'll show you what we're going to do. If we come over here, we can see this is all heated floor. There's a 2x6 that's here. This cavity is 5.5 inches wide. Effectively, this is a 2x6 that is sitting on the compacted sand underneath. Yellow is the vapor barrier. There's another 2x6 that is outside. This is the exterior wall, and below this is insulation for the shallow foundation frost protection. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill this cavity with two-part foam. So it's a lightweight foam similar to what you would use in a dock or a boat. I am going to put some wire in here to keep any critters that might try to come in through the outside. So we'll do that. Put some extra bracing in here, and then we're gonna pour foam. And I want to do that on all of the sections. Step one is going to be cutting and forming this chicken wire to fit in that cavity. Second step will be cutting down some 2x6s to go in there as well. And then third step will be actually pouring the foam. So just pick this up at the big box store, certainly not sponsored. Let me grab the two-part foam and I'll show you what we're going to use there. This is the foam product. You never guess where I got it from. They don't know me, not sponsored. Makes it easy. So this is expanding foam, part A and part B, 2-pound density. So relatively lightweight. It's not going to get anywhere. There are some directions on the side that I'm going to have to follow because, so this makes 10 cubic feet of foam, and with the cavity that I have is 7.5 feet long, 6 inches, we'll call it, we'll round, 6 inches wide by 6 inches deep. I'm going to need just shy, if you do the math on it, it's 1.875. So we're going to call it 2 square feet. I should get 5 or 6 pours out of this. I'm actually going to add a little bit of extra stuff in the bottom of the cavities to soak up some of that space, to kind of move this or stretch this material out. So I did pick up from Big Orange. I have 2 cups that I can measure out in. I picked up a paddle that I can use to mix this stuff up in, and a small bucket. So that's the plan. We're gonna prepare the cavities. We're gonna mix the foam, and I'm gonna do short pours, partial pours. I'm not gonna try to do everything at once. And I will be putting some drop cloth down to make sure I don't spill stuff all over the floor. This ought to be an adventure. Let's see how it goes. If you're not familiar with the study done by Minnesota State University on shallow foundation frost protection, it's a really fascinating study. I'll put a link to it in the description below. All right, this seems to be working fairly well. You can see I've got the wire mesh down here, and it's stapled in the bottom and against the back wall. Putting in some blocks, because this entire thing's going to be covered with plywood. So we'll fill it with foam and then cover it with plywood, and then insulation will go on top of it. So we'll continue doing that, and I may put in a couple extra pieces against the back there that may soak up some extra room, so I get a little more distance out of my foam. The big thing I want to make sure that I do is fill up this gap. I don't know if you can see down here, but there's a gap there between those two boards. I want to make sure that gets filled up with foam. All right, one down. 5 or 6 more to go on this wall. Let's go back to time lapse, because once you've seen one, it's just going to be wash, rinse, and repeat. With shallow foundation frost protection, what they want you to do is put a 2-inch foam thermal break between the edge of the concrete and the outside wall. And with the way Morton does these buildings, there's actually, if you do all the measurements, you've got a 2x4 vertical, a 2x6 horizontal, and then another 2x6 horizontal. So you have, in essence, 8 inches of thermal break between the concrete and the outside wall. And I'm just going the extra step and filling that with foam. I think we're going to call it here today. We've got a bunch done. Temperature's starting to taper off, and I know we need between 65 and 85 degrees to pour the foam, and my understanding that the difference between 65 and 85 is the amount it expands. So we've got the bracing and everything in, and the wire in that we need for the 4 big sections. I've got this little section here, which is only about 18 inches wide, that I could do. And then over here, I need to finish up the 1.5 inch or the 1 inch insulation before I can do anything else. So we're gonna call it. I'm tired. I could really use a beer, so let's make that happen, and we'll see you on day 2.